Hello everyone, it's Aaron here from Push Square, and this is your weekly review for The Last of Us, this time for episode 7. If you're looking for a non-spoilery review, you can check out my written review on the Push Square website. Let's just dive right into it. So this week saw the very faithful retelling of the iconic, the infamous Left Behind DLC. And after last week, I had some issues with the pacing. I felt like it was going a little quickly. I thought this episode was perfect, really. I really did enjoy this episode. It felt like a truly authentic retelling in a way, and I liked that this was the episode where they went, no, we're keeping things the same. We're not changing really anything. Much of anything was changed. There was obviously some omissions, like the water gun fight. I'm fine with all that though, because it was more of a streamlining due to time constraints. We obviously couldn't have had like a 2-hour version of this. And what we did get, I thought they still managed to take their time with the light up of the shopping mall. You had the escalator scene, the photo booth, the carousel. There was a lot of moments there that were either straight from the game or felt very true to the game in a way that I loved. I'm just gonna say here, early on in the show, I had some issues with Bella Ramsey. I didn't feel like she was the best casting in the world, or at least I hadn't been convinced of it at that point. And as the show's gone on, if you've been watching along, you'll know that I've steadily been coming on board, and the more we got to see of her and Joel, the more I just was on board with this portrayal. And this episode, I think it was the vulnerability that we get to see in this episode of Ellie. You know, we're seeing someone that's slightly more open because she's with her best friend, but she's guarded at the same time because she likes this girl and she doesn't know if she likes her back. There's a lot of anxiety and tension there that probably a lot of us can relate to when we were younger in our teens. And I love that about this episode. It really captured that so well. This awkward romance. There's they both know that it's there, but are they willing to address it? And seeing that balance as the show went on between these nice friend moments and these more romantic moments, I thought it was excellently done. Of course, the mall itself, the shopping centre, it looks incredible. It's really faithful to the game. Of course, it's not as expansive looking. They had to deal with real sets and the like, but it still managed to get that sense of wonder, the sense of awe. When you have things like the carousel lighting up, it was still that, oh wow, look at this piece of old world entertainment. And I love the little glimpses we saw. You know, these two girls that have grown up post-apocalypse, you know, they don't know anything about this world really, other than what they've heard or what they've read. It's nothing that they've experienced before, so getting to, you know, see a Victoria's Secrets through the window, and it's a side that's just, you know, trying to be sexy and dressing yourself up. It's not something that really exists in this world, so seeing that's a bit weird for them. And then having the arcade is things that they should be doing at that age, but they aren't, and they can't because it's not, you know, it's not viable. But getting that small little snippet, it was nice to just see the life that they should have had in a way. But what I actually liked that I felt was a bit better here, at least as far as my remembering of the DLC, I actually only played it the once, I believe, back on release, so it's been a long time. So correct me if I'm wrong here, but I did like that Riley seemed a bit more of a authoritative figure to Ellie. You know, she was a little bit older here, a little bit bigger, and obviously she was in the Fireflies, and there was all of this stuff with the gun, and Ellie sort of looks up to it, and it's that way where it's a badge of honor in a way, look at this thing I've got, I'm an adult now, I've got a gun, I'm in the Fireflies. And I really liked that sense, that sort of dynamic between the two of them, because Ellie looks up to it in a way, but there was also more of a tension between the whole Fedra versus Firefly element, which I can't remember too much of either, but it was a nice thread there. There's so many layers at work between these two characters. And obviously, to talk about Storm Reed, I thought she was great in the role. She just it wasn't so much of a recreating who Riley is in a way. For me, it was more of a does this character work with this version of Ellie, because it's more about the chemistry here than anything else. They need to get the chemistry right, they don't need to get the impression of the character right, and I thought that was done really well. They meshed perfectly, they felt like best friends, they felt like they could be romantically involved, and like, it flew by this episode, just watching them go from one thing to the next and constantly trying to tackle the fact that, like, this person's left Ellie and now she's back and what's going to happen to them. And it made the final, like, emotional climax of this, like, so much more impactful, because when you see the bites on both of them, it felt more real. It felt a little raw to me. It felt a bit more like you're fully aware of, like, oh, they're done. Like, this is it. All those plans, all those things they were talking about doing, these are people at the very start of their life. They spend a lot of time in this episode talking about, maybe I'll become an officer, maybe I can become this, I'm going to liberate the country one QZ at a time in the Fireflies, but none of that matters anymore. It's done because of these bites. And the reaction with Bella Ramsey in particular, the way she's like wiping the bite mark, I loved it. I liked the counter to that with the quietness of Riley. What I actually do think they done better with this is bringing it back to the flash forward with Joel. Obviously, he's told her to leave. He said, I'm done. You go and survive on your own. When she comes back, it's that moment where it's like, Riley didn't give up on me. I'm not giving up on Joel. And that point where they hold hands, it was so nice. It was really emotional, actually, I found. And that's the things that I love about this series, whether it be the games or the shows. It's like the small little acts here or there. It's all about the relationship between the characters, and that was the moment that really hit for me. So I'm glad that we've had this episode coming after the last, because I was starting to be a little like, I'm not sure how this is going to go. I'm like not sure how I feel about this, and I still do have worries going ahead. We've got 2 episodes left. By the rumours of the runtimes, about 100 minutes of screen time to wrap up, all of the stuff that's still to come. And it's just whether they can do that in a way that doesn't feel rushed. But in terms of this episode, I thought it was faithfully recreated. It was really well performed. This was the episode where any doubts I ever had about Bella Ramsey are just long gone. They don't matter anymore, because I am here. I've settled into this interpretation of Ellie, and I love it. I'm there for it. So let me know what you thought of this most recent episode. Oh no, let me quickly say about that little tear with Joel. That was some good stuff. I did like that as well. Although they did damp up like how pathetic he looked in a way when he's just sitting there with his little jacket over him. But the tear was hitting. I did like that as well. But yes, I'm just mentioning wee things now. Let me know what you thought of this episode down in the comments. And of course, if you want to stay up to date with all of these Last of Us reviews, we've only got 2 episodes left now, then why not subscribe to us here on Push Square. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.